What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Guys, it's time for another installment of Microbrand Monday, and we couldn't have done today's episode without Jody from Just One More Watch, because he actually sent me this package. As we can see here, it says, "With love from Just One More Watch, XXX. Heck yeah, bro, triple X. So without further ado, let's go ahead, cut this package open, and see which Microbrand watch is inside. It is 2:07 p.m. according to my SBBN 031 Seiko Tuna. Let's get down to business. Okie dokie, so as we turn the box around, we see this is Mitch Mason timepieces. That's right, you may have seen them reviewed on other channels like Just One More Watch. And again, special thanks to Jody for sending me this package. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what these watches actually look like. Yeah, okay, so it's just, you know, your basic black cardboard outer box, and then we have what seems to be a leather watch roll, and I kind of like this distressed look, big fan of that. And then, oh, there's actually something else in here, let's see. Seems to be some laminated marketing material, okay. Changes to production models, and then the specifications. We'll go over this in a moment. All right, let's tear into this very nice leather watch roll. Oh, we can see it's even embossed with their Mitch Mason logo. Oh wow, look at this. There's actually even a protected zipper up. The zipper handle is broken. That's kind of a bummer, but you can, oh, okay, there's the handle for the zipper inside the pouch. But I suppose you could put like maybe a watch strap changing tool in there, or maybe even an extra strap, although I'd probably just slide the straps in here. But that's a nice thing. I actually have never seen that on a watch roll, but who cares about the watch roll? We want to see the watch. Here it is. Let's get a little closer. Okay, so here it is, the Mitch Mason Chronicle. The first thing that stands out to me, and again, guys, this is clearly a first impressions unboxing and review. I've never held one of these. I've never seen one of these in person before right now. But again, the first thing that stood out to me is the very, very interesting case design and case finishing. As we can see, very nicely polished here on the sides of the lugs, or I should say kind of the top, but then here on the face, it's almost like hooded lugs, but it's not. We can see a very sharp cut here with a brushed finish, and I actually really like the kind of dual finishes on watches if it's done well, and this seems to be done very, very well. We can see the face of the lugs are kind of just sharply cut and brushed, and then the sides seem to be nicely polished. And actually, yeah, right here, like on the very side of the watch, it also seems to be kind of brushed here and then polished at the bottom. So very interesting case design, very interesting case finishing. I think they did a pretty good job. That's the first thing that stood out to me. But as we can see here, there's a lot of really unique design cues and design choices that went into this Mitch Mason Chronicle. Let's take a closer look. So as we get very close to the dial, we can actually see it is a bit of a sandwich dial. So the indexes are not applied. It's actually the opposite. They're cut out of what seems to be a kind of blue dial. I don't want to say that it's really textured, but there's definitely some form of kind of brushed grains going on there. Looks very cool. Another thing that stood out to me is that hour hand. I don't know what you would call that hour hand. It's very unique. I've never seen it on any other kind of watch. It's not the typical Rolex Mercedes handset, but it's also not a broad arrow. It's not really a stick hand. It's kind of just very different. But you know what? I want to see a bit more of that dial, and I can see there's a bit of font down there covered up by that hour hand. So let's go ahead and move the hands around, and we can really test the kind of crown setting and function, and we can see what it's like. up, okay. Is this, oh, I think it is. Do we have a threaded crown here? We do. Okay, there's some extra points for this Chronicle here. Pull it out all the way. There we go. Now the crown is out all the way. Let's just move it around enough to have a more pleasant layout here. We'll do the typical 10-10. What do you say? And thread that bad boy up. Very smooth threading crown there. Not gritty at all. Much smoother than a Seiko SKX. And guys, I always use the Seiko SKX as kind of a benchmark because I feel like a lot of people have experience with that kind of watch. But yeah, very smoothly threading crown. Very excited to see a threaded crown on this watch. And we can see a very clean dial. So down here, right above the 6 o'clock, we can see automatic written out in a nice fanciful cursive font. Very, very cool. Let's get up close again and take a look at some of the other markings and indexes on the dial now that we have the hands moved out of the way. Okie dokie, as we focus in on this Mitch Mason logo, we can see some nice Mitch Mason font. We can see that Mitch Mason MM logo right below that 12 o'clock Arabic. That's been cut out of that blue sandwich dial. And then right below all that lettering, we have a Chronicle written out in that kind of red-orange to pair with that orange second hand. Now, let's go ahead and talk about that second hand. We can see it's nicely sweeping across the dial very smoothly. Now, here's where this prototype might differ a little teensy bit from the production models, because here in front of us is, of course, a prototype. So this prototype, the one you're looking at right now, is using a Sellita SW201 movement. That is a Swiss movement. It's automatic. It has hacking and hand wind. It sweeps at a 28,800 BPH frequency. It's a movement I have a whole lot of experience with, and I really, really love that movement. I've had nothing but great experiences with it. My Oris Big Crown Pro Pilot uses that. Let's see, both of my Boulder expeditions use that. I've gone through numerous watches that have used a Swiss Sellita SW201. The production models of this Mitch Mason Chronicle, however, will use a Miyota 9039. Okay, so Miyota, obviously owned by Citizen. This will be a Japanese movement as opposed to the Swiss movement we have here in this prototype. Let's see, it also will have a 28,800 BPH frequency. It will have a 42 plus hour power reserve. This is according to calibercorner.com. And it will be, you know, let's see, hacking, hand wind. It's going to be pretty much similar metrics when we're looking at movement operation. I have a feeling they're probably going with Miyota over Sellita simply due to cost reasons. I have a feeling that it might be a little bit more cost effective, and you know, that's fine. All right, now if we could, I'd like to zoom in here on the crown threading. As I said, this actually has a superbly smooth crown, but this watch will be a little bit different from the production model. So this prototype is said to have a 100 meter water resistance rating. I'm actually very excited to say the production models will have a 200 meter water resistance rating. So really, they're not going to change much with the crown. They will say that the ridges on the crown are going to be a little different. So I think that the serrations might potentially look a little different, but these ones here on the prototype, again, I can only really speak on the watch that I'm experiencing right here. They feel great. They're not slippery at all. It was very, very silky smooth to unthread, to rethread, excuse me, and to set the time. No complaints there. All right, as we focus in here at that 6 o'clock numeral, again, cut out of that blue dial, I am very excited to see how these Arabics glow with that Swiss Superluminova lume. I wanna see how the indexes glow. I wanna see how that very unique handset glows. I'm excited to see exactly which color it will be. The spec sheet did not say. Did say it was Swiss Superluminova lume though, so we will get a loom shot in here for you. But my favorite part about this shot right here, you can actually see my hands waving at you, and it actually shows you the kind of contrast between the two different finishes. So we can see here on the lug face, it's nicely sharply brushed, but then all around the bezel and around these lugs on the side, you can see my reflection because it's very nicely polished. I think they did a very good job here, and it's very dynamic, very fun. It's not something that really sticks out as being too much. It's just very tastefully done, and yeah, I really like that. Very fun and dynamic. All right, so as we lay the watch down here and move out a bit, we can see there's a lot of Flecto coming off that sapphire crystal. Now, this has one layer of AR coating on the front and the back, but the production models will have 5 layers of anti-reflective coating on the underside. So I know a lot of people don't like it when companies put the anti-reflective coating on the front, or on the top layer, I should say, because then it's very easily scratched off. But they're doing it 5 layers on the underside of the sapphire crystal, so really appreciate that detail as well. Let's go ahead, break out my calipers, and really see the measurements on this thing. So on the spec sheet, they told me what the measurements are, but you know what? I don't trust them. We gotta do it ourselves. It wouldn't be a time teller review without really pulling this one out, you know what I mean? Alrighty, moment of truth. You know, this part, whenever I break out the calipers, has the marketing teams for these watchmakers quaking in their boots, because I'm actually testing how accurate their spec sheets are. Let's see, at the widest point of this very unique case, excluding the crown, we have a case diameter of 36.4 millimeters. Now let's do lug to lug, because that's, you know, much more important to see how well a watch will wear on your wrist. 43.2 millimeter lug to lug. Now let's test the case thickness. 13.5 millimeters for an automatic watch with, you know, the production model will have a 200 meter water resistance rating. Very reasonable. Now, in the spec sheet, they made a note of saying, although they will be upping the water resistance rating by 100 meters. Again, this prototype, 100 meter water resistance rating. The production model, 200 meter water resistance rating. The spec sheet stipulated they will be keeping the case thickness the exact same. Very excited about that. People get upset when I don't measure the lug width. Again, the lug to lug is from this point to this point, not to be confused with the lug width, which is just, you know, the width of the strap. This is 20 millimeters on the button. All right, so you have a lot of options there when it comes to strap choices. Now, before I put the watch on my wrist, I just wanted to take a moment and show you this case back. It is not a display case back, and that's perfectly fine, but they did clearly spend a lot of time here engraving it. It almost looks like a coat of arms, if you will. It says Mitch Mason, and then it says Chronicle, sapphire crystal, stainless steel, automatic, you know, the usual stuff. Very cool. And we can also see more of that interesting, almost hooded case shape. It's very cool. I really like the case design. I think that's my favorite part. The handset, it might grow on me. I think the hour hand is a little bit out there for me. It's not totally, you know, a deal breaker, but it's a bit out there. What I will say is the case design, how it almost looks like a porthole here, I'm totally digging that. I think that's very cool. Let's go ahead and put it on the wrist. Here it is, guys, the Mitch Mason Chronicle on my 7.5-inch wrist. Very cool. We have Mitch Mason here on the buckle, some nice little detailing there. Also on the keeper, it's embossed with that MM logo. Feels good. Doesn't feel too chunky on the wrist, not cumbersome at all. Doesn't feel too light either, like nothing feels super cheap. Feels like a proper watch, and again, the lugs don't encompass my whole wrist. That's a good thing. I'm sick of wearing watches for review, and the lug to lug is just enormous. I have a larger than average wrist, so if the lugs are like hanging off the side of my arm, it's going to absolutely look ridiculous on the majority of people out there. And I know people are looking for watches to be under that 40mm sweet spot, and I think this watch nails it. I think that this will wear very well on a very versatile group of people, larger or smaller than my wrist. I think you could totally pull it off. I know people with larger wrists than myself will probably look at this and be like, no, too small, too small. Guys, give yourself some more credit. I wear 31, 32 millimeter bubble backs like all day long, and I love it. But some people, you know, different strokes for different folks, they're going to want a larger lug to lug, and that's fine. All right, guys, so after spending some time with this Mitch Mason Chronicle, I'm really impressed for a few different reasons. One, the spec sheet. Very, very good. Again, I kind of wish they kept the Sellita SW201 movement just because I'm very partial to it. The Miyota 9039, I believe it was, you know, very similar metrics, very similar operation. Can't really complain there. It's going to be a 24 joule automatic with hacking hand wind and the same high beat frequency, so that is good to see. Another thing I'm very impressed with, though, is this is a Microbrand, but it's clearly not an homage of anything that I've ever seen before, and that is so cool. I'm very happy to see designers taking risks and doing something new. This isn't just another Rolex sports watch homage. It's not just another thing we see all the time. Is the handset my cup of tea? Not really, but is it unique and is it kind of tasteful and funky in its own way? Yeah, absolutely. And again, the fact that they're doing their own thing, I love it, man. So sandwich dial, patented indexes and hands. I know some people aren't going to like that. Very nice water resistance rating, very nice smoothly threading crown, sapphire crystal, very functional. Kind of versatile at the same time, I suppose. If you put this on a more dressy strap, it could be a dress watch. If you wanted to put this on a NATO strap or even maybe a silicone strap, I could see it working very well as kind of a vacation-y sports watch as well. So this is a very versatile, unique, highly functional watch from a company I've actually never heard of before. So Mitch Mason, thank you so much for supporting this channel, sending us the watch for review, and sponsoring this episode and letting us do another installment of Microbrand Monday. We couldn't have done it without you. And again, thank you, Jody from Just One More Watch. Big hello to you as well. We love those guys. Guys, if any of my subscribers haven't subscribed to Just One More Watch, I'm sure you all do, but please tell them I sent you. Go over there and bother them a bit for me. All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this episode and you liked what you saw, maybe you learned something new and you had some fun, thank you for being here. Consider supporting the channel and hitting that subscribe button and hitting that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the content we're putting out here. We upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday with a live Q&A every single Saturday with 2 extra pieces of content a week for the channel members. That's right, if you are a certified T3 bot, you get 6 pieces of content every single freaking week. Only $4.99 a month gets you those 2 extra pieces of content, plus access to the members only Discord chat. Again, it's essentially YouTube's Patreon. We get most of our support here from YouTube channel membership. So again, $4.99 a month. Hit that join button next to that subscribe button to take advantage of that. We love to see all our members. And yeah, the easiest way to support the channel is just to hang out with us and watch the content. So guys, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much. We love each and every one of you. Check out the affiliate links in the description below. Check out my personal website, www.thetimetellershop.com. That is the #1 place to find affordable vintage luxury watches with a 1-year warranty, serviced and inspected. Heck yeah, guys. Thank you for all the support. We love each and every one of you. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.